Josh Durham, should brands pay influencers to post on their social feeds? Is that a waste of money at this point? I've heard pay for posts is dead. Is it dead? Is that real?
Paper Post is not dead. It's still alive and well.
Let's say I have a $5 million in revenue brand. Should I go find a bunch of influencers to pay them for the post, and that should be the extent of my deal with them?
No, it should go much, much further. And I also say if you're at 5 million a year, you probably should only be paying influencers for paid social usage and potentially just doing gifting.
Okay, so tell me more about what you mean by those two things.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get a lot of inbound deal flow just through referrals and Twitter and stuff like that. And we've been around for 5 years now, which is really crazy. And so basically we kind of have benchmarks of like what influencer levers you should pull based on your annual revenue of your brand. So we have clients who are $1 billion CPG brands, and we also have clients who are $6 million a year e-commerce brands, and how we approach those two things are very different. So 0 to 6 million a year as like a D2C brand, I think that you should only be focused on product gifting. And then also, if you're going to pay creators, I would just focus on that being for paid social usage and like whitelisting their accounts. But typically that, those budgets for whitelisting can vary from a couple $100 to $5,000. And so I think, product gifting from 0 to 6 million makes a lot of sense. You get a lot of content volume. You get less control. So that's the only downside over that content, but you get volume and actual diversity, creative diversity that everyone says they want. And it's because it's, you let the creator create. You're not telling them what to say and giving them a script. So that's 0 to 6 million. And then above that, like I would say, 10 million, like 6 million to maybe 30 million a year. That's when we kind of start recommending actually having a paid budget. But a lot of that paid budget is primarily going to whitelisting usage. So kind of on average, like, gifting 100 influencers a quarter, 200 influencers a quarter, we usually get like a 75% posting rate on that product gifting. So you get the benefit of the organic awareness, cheap CPMs on that content that you can plug into Meta. We usually get 1 year paid usage on product gifting content. But then on the flip side for whitelisting, it's a lot more DR style, getting 3 ad variations. You're usually getting like a 90 days to whitelist, and then at least having like 1 year usage rights to that content to run from the brand handle. So yeah, those are my kind of general benchmarks. And then over 30 million plus, like, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So 5, let me just repeat that. And then let's talk about over 30 million a little bit. So 5 million or less, really it sounds like you're saying 10 million or less, basically, right?
Yeah.
You should be just gifting, getting posts, and then reaching out to people. Gifting meaning you literally just send your product to people, tell them sort of, we're not asking for anything. You're just gifting it to you. Yeah. A lot of times they'll post anyway. You said 75% of the time they'll post anyway.
That's what our average is. Like, it's really high, but like,
is that because you guys have some magic sauce for how to get that?
We're saucy. That's all I can say.
That's why I brought you on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no, we just have expectations of getting that deliverable up front.
Okay.
And that's gifting versus seeding. Seeding is send out a bunch of product, hope they post.
Yeah.
Gifting is, hey, we want you to post in exchange for our product, and then we can hold them to that and keep them accountable. So there's 2 different like variations.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. So you guys are actually asking for the post when you gift it.
Yeah, for most brands. But if you're a $10 moisturizer, you should probably just seed product because you're one of a million. It's like, it's hard. It all depends on the brand of like how much brand equity do you have? Are you well known? Yeah. Do you have a big influencer behind you? So, yeah.
So you're getting those posts and I like the idea of using this to move through the conversation this way. Sort of, so for the sub $10 million brand, let's sort of walk through the whole way this works. So you're reaching out to influencers, you're gifting to them, you're asking for the post when you gift. 75% of them actually follow through with the post. Mm-hmm. And you then are most of them posting on stories at that point?
So we're usually getting 1 in feed posts, like on IG Reels, TikTok posts, and then usually like 1 to 2 stories. So usually when the product shows up, they do a quick unboxing on stories, and then within that next week, they make a post on like IG Reels.
And then when you do that, are you thinking about sort of influencer size or following or something like that, that is the right kind of range for when you're at that stage of things?
Yeah, on the gifting seeding front, it's usually like 10K to 100K followers
Okay.
is that range, kind of micro creator. And then for whitelisting, that can definitely vary. But like there's influential people that you can do on whitelisting for 50,000 followers. But generally, when you use a paid budget, it's like over 100,000 followers.
Okay, interesting. So sub 100,000, you're getting the gifting and you're not worrying as much about whitelisting, or you are worrying about whitelisting, and maybe I'm confused.
The over 10 million a year.
Under 10 million a year.
Yeah, I would say
Gifting.
and that's why I said originally like 6 million, because I do think that if you're a $6 million brand, that means you're doing like 500K a month in revenue, and so you are probably still trying to scale up paid social, and you should just, if you are going to work with influencers, it's going to be for the sake of just paid social content.
Yeah,
it's like feed the beast. Let's work with someone influential. Let's see what happens when you run from a third party versus your ad account. Like, is it going to equal lower CPMs, higher click-through rates, higher return on ad spend?
Yep.
So these are kind of like just general benchmarks, but it's just what I think what a lot of agencies will do kind of in the brand marketing world is like, oh, you're a $3 million agency. Why don't you pay this influencer 15K with no set of deliverables? And that's when a lot of people, I think, get burned. Is like, I think everyone and their mother has been burned by an influencer because they thought it was going to be the end all be all, and then nothing happened. So just these benchmarks are just like super kind of general, like what I recommend to my clients. And I always try to make the best, what's best at their stage of their business, because I wouldn't tell a brand doing 500K a month to go spend 30 to 60K a month on influencer pay-per-post, although we do that for specific clients who are doing mid 8 figures a year, doing 9 figures, $1 billion a year. So it's just very different in terms of like the ratios of the influencer budgets versus revenue.
So in that earlier stage, then you're looking at it and saying you're doing gifting, but also are you taking the people who perform well in gifting or whose content you like the most, and then also reaching out and doing whitelisting deals with them?
Yeah. So honestly, one cool thing that we've been doing has been getting whitelisting codes from gifted creators. And so we actually have had a client just in the last 2 months where we had gifted a creator, and we are like, hey, can we run this in as like a whitelisted, whitelisting in Meta? And they're like, yes. Got like a 1-click approval, and it has 6 figures of ad spend behind it now at like a 2x ROAS. So it's like you can still do gifting into whitelisting. That can still actually work. Yeah. It's just trickier because I think that at one point all the influencers went to a conference around like whitelisting, and they're like, don't whitelist, like don't give it up. So I think a lot of them, like in different spaces, are a lot more kind of like close to the chest with that, and really use that as like a negotiation leverage for like the set of deliverables. So you just have to play the game. Would
you skip gifting then and just go straight for whitelisting? Because you're saying, in that early stage of business, like you said, 500,000 a month in revenue, you're still probably really building on Meta as your primary thing. At that point, are you saying, would you sort of skip gifting and just use the budget for whitelisting, or would you not? I guess how would you think at that stage of business? What's the divide between
whitelist,
try to get whitelisting
or
deals
gifting,
and versus gifting, or is it some combination of both, or like
I think the reason, just to back up, is like I think influencers come down to trust, right? So I think that I think trust is the thing that matters here. That's why influencer still works, is because in a land of AI, AI record like videos and just static images, like I think that having an influencer that you actually trust is still kind of the holy grail. And that's why we see partnership ads have been working so well for the past year. So to answer that question, should I do gifting or whitelisting? I think it depends on your budget, right? Like I think realistically, if you want to go sponsor 5 whitelisted creators, I'd be prepared to spend around $10,000 in a given month. If you're wanting to work with actual influencers who have $100,000 followers, if you just want UGC creators, go for it. Spend $100 an asset and like whitelist the UGC creators. But I don't know that there's trust, and I don't know that there's like an audience there. So I think that with gifting, I think the advantage is it's just cheap cost of goods sold Like you're going to build some awareness on social. And then also you're getting like an army of influencers to follow your social handle so that when you are whitelisting or you are running ads, and instead of, them clicking to the site, but they click your profile on IG, they see that, oh, my favorite influencers are all following this brand. And then, just that little bit of third party trust, and you're getting like creative volume on from the gifting side. So it just depends on the brand, but I just think that it's all about trust.
I like that point a lot. So yeah, maybe that's the question for brands at that stage of business in particular, with some limitation to resource, and often the limitation to resource is really the limitation of time to go find people and to go do all that kind of stuff. Which maybe is where you guys come in. If it's
time based, then definitely I think whitelisting will be a lot easier.
Yeah,
because gifting is kind of like herding cats.
Yes,
and that's why we do it. It's because our clients want to do it, and they're like, "We've tried this. It's so hard. It takes so much time. Why aren't they posting?" So it's just, we just have it dialed in at this point. Like, it's just rinse and repeat for us. So I think, you're right. I think time is a big constraint on that point.
Yeah, especially in that such a business, you don't have enough money to go hire a lot of people or whatever. So the idea, it makes sense that you guys would just sort of step into that and say, it's not too far off what I say for people with us as a meta agency is like, people will tell me all the time, oh, we're going to bring this in-house and we're going to dedicate full-time resources, and that's going to make it so that we can get way more done than working with you. It's like, no, you don't understand. All I do is think about how to build a better process to create good quality ads at scale. And so I'm going to beat your in-house team. Like even with less time dedicated to it, I'm just going.
You don't realize how long I've been in this game.
Yeah. And just like how much the skill is in building the operations and the strategies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
I actually was seeing someone else was tweeting yesterday. I was like, I've been getting... So I'm like trying to launch a brand in like 3 months. I actually just got like my purchase order yesterday.
All right.
And basically like I've been getting really back to my direct response roots. I think that it's interesting having this conversation right now because I feel like I went on this journey of brand marketing with influencer marketing, but now it's all come back full circle where, direct response, like partnership ads and influencer being kind of brand are kind of like colliding once again.
Yep.
But I saw someone that was like tweeting about how they started doing, Shopify drop shipping in like 2021 or 2022. I was like, I've been in this game since 2015. I know that you've been around for a long time too. It's just so funny. It's like, it's so crazy just the cycles that you start to notice just now being in e-com for like 10 plus years of like how much even influencer marketing has changed, and even just like meta.
Zach's. I mean, the reason I brought you on is because I, as I told you before we started recording, like I don't really know what influencer marketing is right now. I feel like I still see some whispers of it, and I mean, it's very helpful to get some of the details here. Yeah, Zach Stuck tweeted the other day something about like just embracing being e-com unk.
Yes, that was
just
amazing.
Like, it's so true. It's like there's these things you can learn from people who are new to it, who have fresh eyes and who are younger, and then there's things that you kind of have to give because you've just sort of watched a lot of things happen.
I know. I was just like, I've been like building out our Shopify store, and like the things that you can do of like copy paste a URL into Replo. It like blows my mind. I was like, I used to watch courses with Ryan Dice from digitalmarketer.com and also Ezra Firestone. Like those were my the holy grail. But I would have to like sit through a whole 5-hour, 6-hour course to learn all these tactics. And now you just like copy and paste stuff. And like having ChatGPT is like, it's never been easier.
Yeah.
And also it's never been harder. But like, I just think it's just so crazy to see how it's evolved.
Always happy to shout out Ezra too on this show. I always say he was the first marketing influencer type person that I saw where I was like, this guy I trust. And that was like in 2015. Like it was.
I'm such a big Ezra fan. I think he followed me back on Twitter like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's awesome.
Yeah. If you are building out your team to do the kind of work that I'm talking about in this episode, influencer management and things like that, if you're not working with an agency like Josh, you might want to staff that team with incredible talent from the Philippines with my friends at More Staffing. More Staffing is my staffing partner that I have now been working with for multiple years. Use them across every business that I touch to staff my team with amazing talent from the Philippines. And I just couldn't be a bigger fan of what they are doing. As I have said a lot of times, if you're thinking about Philippines team extension, offshoring in the Philippines, if you're thinking about that as $5 an hour virtual assistants, you're missing out on what the total opportunity is there. I am looking for really high quality team members, and I'm repeatedly finding really high quality team members across every part of the business That's manager, director, and even higher level team members for basically, like I said, everything I touch. That's the brand that I'm starting. On one side, that's also AJF Growth itself. I've got 2 job applications or 2 job postings going out with them later today because we're going to hire with them more because it's worked out so well for us in the past. The simple value here is that your dollars just go really far in the Philippines to attract great quality talent. So you can sort of hire up market, hire people with better, deeper resumes in the Philippines, a country of 90 million people, a lot of people with great resumes there. You can hire up market. Your dollars just go a lot farther to attract great talent than they do in the US in particular. And so you can go and look through that. And the very simple thing I would tell you to do is go and just get on a call with More and collect some resumes. If you have an open position, you should look with More and see if there's Filipino talent that can help you do that. If you didn't know, almost everybody in the Philippines grows up speaking English as like a second or really even almost first language. It's basically everybody there speaking really, really good English. So if that's a concern for you, it really shouldn't be. All kinds of great ability to work cross-culturally across teams. We've found that to be repeatedly the case. And I actually really couldn't be more thankful for my interactions with my Filipino teammates. I love them. They're awesome and it creates great opportunity for us and for them. It's just really great. So go to More Staffing, get connected with them. More Staffing will actually backfill any positions that you hire that don't work out with no additional headhunting fee if they don't work out for at least a year. So you got a year guarantee on anybody you hire with them. Go to morestaffing.co/AF, morestaffing.co/AF. Just follow the link in the show notes to go do that. Go check it out today. I really like the point you're making about trust. And I've sort of made the distinction in some places of actor versus influencer versus creator as like 3 separate ways to work with talent, in your
actor
ads.
Versus what? Say it again. Actor,
versus
creator.
Influencer versus creator.
Nice. Okay.
And the lines on
Those
some
are
of
good.
these get blurry, but like, and then I would maybe put another category, which is celebrity.
Oh yeah,
where
that's
celebrity
true.
is celebrity is sort of like like the influencer, but on a different level typically.
Yeah, you're
and
like
people,
you're validated through like being a professional athlete, or you're on
correct.
Dancing with the Stars. That's the like level. Like you have to be on TV.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Or a commercial,
Yeah.
and people know who you are.
That's right. Yeah. So the actor is anybody you're using in an ad to read a script. So it could be me. I could be the actor in it. It's not like actually a professional actor necessarily. It's just that if you're reading a script on screen, you are not really a creator. You're not creating anything. You're just reading a script. And you're not really I guess you could create with the script, but again, some of these lines get blurry at points. And you're not an influencer. The point's not that that you're conveying some authority. You're just delivering a message via a script. The creator, the value of creators so much of the time is the idea that they, like, the distinctive thing that I see with a creator is they understand how to create, and this is sort of the critical word, algorithmic content, right?
Yes.
Like the thing is they know how to work they know how to generate engagement on
They're an
stuff.
algo whisperer.
That's right. Yeah. And so you want to let them create. You want to let them do whatever they want to do. The influencer, though, is, I think, to me, comes to what you just referenced, which is, and by the way, a lot of people become influencers via being creators, and then influencers become celebrities. But
you have to move up the ladder. But it all starts as a UGC creator actor.
Mr. Beast is the extreme version of this, right? Like he starts as like a simple creator, and then he becomes an influencer over time, and then eventually becomes a full celebrity. So. But the thing about the influencer is that your point, I think, is right, which is that the notion of trust. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of brands where you really don't realize how important that is to the buying decision until you run up against your limits of what you can do in your ads. It's just this notion. And I do think it's built over time, slowly, the way you said, which is like gifting over a bunch of time, getting some of them in your ads, and maybe they have 30,000 followers to start. And they have really niche micro trust, but for those 30,000, that people, there's people my wife follows on the internet who are probably in that range, but she trusts them a lot and she cares a lot about what they say.
I have one influencer that's like a fitness dad, and he just hit 100,000 followers, and I was like, "Whoa, our guy, he blew up!" Like I was like so stoked for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but you might have trusted him a ton at 25,000. You might have trusted him a ton, and for those 25,000 people, it matters a lot. So the idea of like sort of steadily, and I want you to correct me anywhere you think I'm laying this out wrong, Josh. Like,
no, this is great.
The way I think about it,
friends right now.
The way I think about it is like by slowly compiling these people over time relative to the revenue and basically budget stage you're at for the ability to get more of these people, that the influencer game is this long-term game, particularly if you're in a more niche community or you're in, whatever, not necessarily niche, but if you're just in some kind of community or whatever, like the more people see you show up with the feeds or in the feeds of people they care about, little by little trust is built. And a lot of times,
Frequency. Yeah.
yes, a lot of times it's not like Meta where you can just like blast it out to millions of people at X CPM, and do that.
Yeah.
It's actually a slower build over time and that to me feels like the place of gifting and that kind of thing is it's actually
Yeah.
not necessarily the make it happen fast. And maybe also this is where sort of brand and DR end up coming together a little bit is eventually that has a DR impact and there's people getting into your ad account and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
but
I was actually going to say
that's my feel. Tell me if you think that is
yeah,
right.
no,
or
100%. It's like frequency over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like I tweeted about this. I think only like 5 people liked it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like such a good tweet. I bought like some fitness equipment for my garage like last like around Christmas time. And as I was kind of like doing the whole comparison game, I was like, I went to Garage Gym Reviews. Who's that guy on Twitter too? He's like the founder of Garage Gym Reviews. Oh, Cooper. His name is Cooper. But anyways, he's kind of like my influencer because he was like benchmarking, these. So then I click into one of these websites called majorfitness.com and I start researching. And then the remarketing within Major Fitness is insane. Like there was a guy who basically showed me, here's what it looks like to actually unbox this and like how long it's going to take you to set up. He's like, this took me, 16 hours to set up by myself. He shows it like, he basically shows you like the whole thing. Like you get 4 different boxes. You have to unbox it all. There's a lot of wrapping. But then the next ad within retargeting was like a gal who just shows you like what her fitness routine is while she's working out on it. And then the third ad that I got was like, I bought this because I am in the gym with my daughter right now. And instead of having to drive 20 minutes each way and spend 40 minutes in the car to go to Planet Fitness or a normal gym and have to wait to use a machine, I can do it right now, right here. And I get to spend quality time with my family. So there's just like these 3 creative angles that was just hit from each influencer. And honestly, I doubt that the brand told them to say all those things. I think that all those things were just natural things that they were experiencing with the product. And I think that to your point around frequency, it's like frequency and then also creative diversity of like different angles that speak to you. Because, all those angles spoke to me. I was the one that set it up. I have kids. I don't want to drive to the gym. Also, maybe I need to have, whatever workout that girl was doing in her garage. But just, there's like 3 creative angles and it was like, but there's like probably 10 more influencers after that all had a different angle. So I don't know. There's something to that. And I spent the $4,000 on the gym equipment for that purchase.
Yeah. I love that way of doing it because there just are these repeated touch points that matter in people's purchase decision over time, all built on trust. What you just referenced is different messages and different people, all who you trust. I think that's a really good indication of how these purchase decisions work. And
it's also a question too. Do you feel like it's better within retargeting, or do you feel like whitelisted ads on your end? Have you seen them perform better top of funnel, or do you feel like it's more
everything.
middle of funnel? Okay, everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I almost reject the distinction. I think
that there's a funnel.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I
don't reject the distinction, but I think they tend to be both. But I can see exactly why they fit the way they did for you in that particular moment. I could also see how different things would go the other way. But one thing I think is the situation you're describing is it sounds like those influencers really believed the things they were saying. Like they actually liked it.
Yeah, totally. It wasn't fake.
Is that something you guys value that like you find ways, or is there a way you sort of pull on that? Because again, I've watched influencer marketing go badly.
Yeah.
I was once at a shoot with an influencer for a client where they'd put money into the shoot. The influencer was getting the product for the first time that day, and it was a performance related product, a sports performance product. Had signed on to use that sports performance product in their sport the whole time. And the influencer was standing there going, I don't like this. Like what? Like, why am I, and so, but then the influencer was like on the hook. And so then like, I'm sitting there trying to get them to say, this is who I am. And this is why I use this product. And it was like, it was so awkward and it came through so much in the content.
Yeah.
versus building a deal with somebody who is like, hey, I'm actually excited about this. Like, I think it's really good, and I like what you're doing a
And
lot.
that's part of the reason
Yeah,
gifting works too.
yeah,
It's like if they're willing to do it for free, and then I always say, it's like the frequency of how often they use it and then how many times they post afterwards shows you how much they actually love the product.
yeah,
And we saw this with Hexclad of just
yep,
like working with influencers who actually enjoyed the product. And like, with Hexclad, the frequency of how many times they would post was so high because it was really great product, but also you always are cooking. Like if you're a recipe creator, you're not just, it's not one and done. Like you're putting on it's kind of harder to make a skincare routine video. You can't do that more than once, but if you're making new recipes, you're using the same pan over and over again. So again, there was like, we gifted them, but instead of posting once because it was a bad product and maybe they didn't like it, they posted like 3 to 5 times on average because they loved the product and actually used it.
yeah, yeah. I really like that. I sort of always like it. This is a bias of mine, but I almost always like it when the answer in an interview like this is like, yeah, there's really no substitute for doing the work over a long period of time.
Yes, that's exactly how I live my life too.
Yeah,
I just like, you
it's
just stay in this long enough. You have to endure the pain long enough, and then great things happen.
yeah, and I like that. It's sort of a more realistic. It's the title of this episode is not going to be how to use influencer marketing to get to mid 8 figures in 1 year or whatever. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's like it's going to be about like a realistic pathway to leveraging influencers for profitable growth or something. I don't know.
Totally.
So, okay. So let me ask you one more question about this. Let's say I have a 50,000 follower influencer, and you can put them in whatever generic category you want, right? So I can imagine some of these are going to be different for beauty or fitness or moms or whatever, but
Yeah.
put them in whatever category you want. 50,000 followers. Let's say I gift them. It's they love the product. It's awesome. I love their content. Their content performs well, and I'm like, hey, I want to keep working with this person. Okay. What should I do next if that happens?
So you've gifted them, and then you're like,
I've already gifted them. They've
that?
produced content that I think is great. They really sincerely like it. What should I do next with them? And let's say I'm a $6 million brand.
$6 million brand. Okay, cool.
$6 million brand, 50,000 follower influencer. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're working with us when we do gifting, our average paid usage rights is about 1 year. So I would immediately plug that into Meta and see how that's performing. And then if it's
so separately go and work out a deal after I've gifted and say, hey, I want to run that content.
No, I've already worked out the deal before I gifted them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's part of the gifting. Part of the gifting is that when you post the content, I get to use it in my ad account.
Yes. Make sure you set that expectation up front.
But maybe not with whitelisting.
Yeah, but not with whitelisting. With paid usage, that I can run it as is the asset, plug it in from the brand account. So then if it works well from the brand account, then the next step is, hey, can we get the whitelisting code for the ad account as well? And
okay, awesome.
That. So that's like those are the first two things.
I can get access to the content in the ad account for just the price of me sending the product. Maybe this is why I was getting confused earlier. So
yeah.
So you're saying I can get access to the content for the ad account, just not whitelisting necessarily. I can get that as part just for the price of me gifting a product.
Yes.
Okay, I should be doing. Okay, brands should do that.
Yes, they should. They should definitely do that. It can. The warning there is just like I mentioned before. Are you a $10 skincare product, or are you a $200 piece of fitness equipment? And so that's going to affect your opt-in rates of like when you ask for those. So, but I always like to start each of our brands on like, let's get maximum deliverables out of this. We want an IG post, we want 2 stories, and we want 1 year paid usage. Like set those deliverables up front when you're reaching out to them, and then it's a volume game of like reaching out to 800 influencers in a month for that same thing, and then ideally getting a 10% opt-in rate, 75% posting rate. All these are kind of like the KPIs that we shoot for.
Okay, awesome.
But after that,
so I've got the piece in the ad account now. I've got 1 year usage rights. Now what?
Now we should ask for the whitelisting code, see if we can actually run it from the influencer's account. And then second to that is like, maybe we should send them either if it's like something, a product that's like replenishable, should we send it to them every single month? Like we have beverage brands that we work with, we'll send them a package every single month to replenish their supply. But next to that is like, I think, is starting to use that creator for any new product launches. So I think that like one mistake is, instead of just think about influencer on evergreen, well, it's actually kind of a two-way street. It's like people either think about it and it's either evergreen or it's a campaign. It's like always on, or it's just like, hey, we just want help with this one product launch. So like, number one, I always think product gifting should always be evergreen, and then paid partnerships, can be evergreen, but it's better when it's tied into a campaign. So like with that influencer, if you have a new product launch, you should have her, as well as like, 5 to 10 other influencers all posting on the same date, and pay them based on a CPM basis of their last 10 reels, and get that content whitelisted in addition to that. So this is a big product launch that you have coming up on your content calendar. Like, instead of influencer being out on an island, let the influencer speak to the audience and have that as just another piece of creative in your ad account, but also on organic social.
So how do you set the CPM?
So generally what we do is we are shooting for like a $20 to $30 CPM on pay-per-post campaigns. So we'll usually look at their last 10 videos, usually start at $20 CPMs. Usually we'll land on 30, and just negotiate from there on deliverables.
Okay, I like that a lot. That's really clear, which I really appreciate. There's so much haziness on these sorts of things. And now let's take that same influencer and say, 50,000 followers, like I said. Let's say I do want to whitelist with them. Mm-hmm. How much should I pay for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's going to be kind of dependent on the industry and how competitive it is, like in that industry. So like, for example, supplements is a very competitive industry. Outdoor products, very competitive industry. Male focused apparel brands, very competitive industry. Like, let's take the male brand, for example. It's like, you can think about like Cuts Clothing, Built, all these brands.
Legend. My friends at Legends. I'm wearing a Legends shirt right now.
Oh yeah. Legends is a former client. Love those guys. I have so many of their shorts. They're the best.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. I also love 10,000, but they also are a client. And they came out.
That's fine. I'm wearing Born Primitive shorts and a Legends shirt, and I love both those brands. And I'm wearing Born Primitive shoes for that.
Well, that's what you are. You're not exclusive.
That's what everybody is. Right? I think. Yeah.
But so that's the thing with male brands is, for every one solid male creator, there's about 100 solid female creators. So the rates are insane. So it's really hard to carve out a high volume play. I think that so, back to your question, how much should I pay for whitelisting? It depends on the industry. So in this, like, if I was a male apparel brand, I would really focus on my paid partnerships. I would continue to do gifting, and I'd probably go gift female creators buying for their spouse. And then I would do paid partnerships, like doing really great paid partnerships. But that can be $500 to $5,000 for like something like 90 days, whitelisting usage. I think that Zach Stuck also did a podcast with on Andrew. I think Andrew Foxwell, those guys.
Yeah. Scalable. It's cool. Yeah.
Really I listened to that one on whitelisting. It was really good. I think one of the things that Zach said, just because he's apparently, is what the success ratio is, like 5% of the influencer fee to revenue created. Yeah,
so
that was an interesting ratio. I don't know how realistic that is, but I've definitely seen that. Like, we whitelisted an influencer that has 1 million followers, and they drove, for like literally 15K, and they literally drove 150K in attributable revenue in Meta. So it's just, it's all negotiation play. And I think that like the best thing you can do is start with your rate of like, what's a win for you?
Yeah.
Based on your brand and your budgets, you start the negotiation. Don't ask for the rate card. Like, on average, my team is able to get 50% off rate cards. And the reason is we don't ask for the rate card. we set the budget first. Hey, would you be willing to do for this? It's like, our normal thing is this. It's like, okay, great. No problem. We have other people. Cool. Actually, I would like
Yeah.
I'd like to come back here with
That's
a
really
cheaper and
helpful.
put my
It's just
hat
a
in the ring.
negotiation. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. I think it's really good advice.
It's all
This is
negotiation. Like it's all
yeah,
negotiation and it's volume. You have to have
yeah.
tons of pipeline up with other influencers because that's your leverage.
You're building an e-commerce business and you need customer service software to do it, so you should be using RICHPANEL for that. There's a very simple value proposition with RICHPANEL from day one, which is that RICHPANEL guarantees that they will save you 30% on your customer service software bill if you switch from Gorgeous or Zendesk over to RICHPANEL. So from the beginning, that's just something you ought to be considering, and you should know at the same time that RICHPANEL is not just more affordable, it is great software. RICHPANEL is built from the ground up with AI. They're not adding AI to a legacy product. It was built from the ground up with AI, so it's very AI fluent. And obviously, customer service is one of those areas in your business where AI can make a really big impact really, really fast. And so having RICHPANEL do that is a real value add. And that's the reason why very large brands like Ridge are using RICHPANEL as their customer service software, and brands as big as that, and also brands that are starting from zero. It's the brand, that's the software company I plan to use for my customer service software when my brand starts and launches from the beginning. They can scale with your brand over that whole time. They, on average, see a 30% reduction in tickets, customer service tickets, because their customer service self-help platform is so good. They have an AI agent who will respond to your social comments for you, go interact with customers on your ads, fully AI, fully agent, and does a great job. Again, very large brands are using. So there's also potential savings there on using AI to handle that kind of customer service work instead of having to employ a team of people all over and trying to stay up on top of things. And it's just really awesome. So customers also love it. Customers give really positive reviews on their interactions with RICHPANEL, including AI interactions. They also guarantee a 2-week transition so that when you are switching from one software to another, it's not going to be a huge headache. They're going to get your team trained and ready to go. Go check it out today, richpanel.com. Get started with RICHPANEL today. Okay, really good. Let's move up scale a little bit. So cool. Now we're going 10 to 30 million. How does my influencer strategy change as I enter that stage of things? I have a little more money to play with. Meta's probably starting to decline in efficiency a little bit, or I can't just pound the Meta machine forever. Thinking about how to grow my brand besides that. Yeah, so we're still gifting. You're probably going to be spending just more money on whitelisting. Like usually what we recommend is like $15K a month on, influencer paid partnerships. So that could be whitelisting. That could be some brand awareness plays for some campaigns, but it all depends on like the ratio of that spend to your revenue, right? So like maybe 5 to 10% of your influencer budget is like 5 to 10% of revenue. And so, it's around $15,000 of spend just because, if you want to sponsor 5 influencers, well, those in the mid-tier section, like 100K plus followers, then that's going to look like $3,000 an influencer typically. So you're going to get 5 influencers per month to test in Meta. And what am I getting for that $3,000 per influencer? What am I getting in that deal?
Usually 90 days usage, whitelisting usage, depending on if they're posting
and
it.
They're posting, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it depends if you want them to. So that all is a part of this. So they're doing an IG reel that's posted. You're getting whitelisting access to that. 2 stories, you're getting paid usage to that. And then, but if you want, but basically you can make that budget. You can get more bang for your buck out of that budget if you don't have them post. So if you only are caring about paid social, then don't have them post. Then let's just use that budget for a dark post, upload it into Meta, and just play that. But I would argue that
when you say dark
money
post,
on the table.
When you say dark post, what do you mean?
Just like creating a piece of content that's uploaded into Google Drive, and you're using it, and you can whitelist it, that kind of thing.
Got it. Yeah. So it's just ad content, you're saying?
It's just ad content. But I would say you're missing the point because maybe that, like, I think it should live on their page. Like if you're running a whitelisted ad and they click their profile and they scroll, what if they're promoting another product?
Right.
You want to be the product that they use. So I think that there's some tact to that. But generally, IG posts, 2 stories, whitelisting assets for 90 days and go from there. But yeah, usually 5 creators a month at $3K a pop.
And what you're saying, so the reason that it costs so much more, because now you're going from a year usage to 3 months. Now you're going from gifting to $3,000. You're saying the reason for that is because you're getting bigger influencers, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, on the other side, is it producing more revenue? And from what I've seen, it is.
Yeah.
I think that my hot take for this is that I think mid-tier influencers are actually really undervalued,
Huh.
because I
What do
think
you mean
that
by mid tier? Can you just define that?
yeah, like 100K, like sub a million followers, like kind of 100K to 500K follower range.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I think that they have everything that a brand wants. They're not the celeb level 1 million plus influencer that's just like pure brand awareness land. That's like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson posting shampoo, uh, making a shampoo when he doesn't have hair. It's like, I think that 100K to 500K followers, you get a bit of DR, you get a lot of trust, and you get awareness from that content because they know how to speak to their audience on like IG Reels primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good. So
But people are always trying to push micro creators because they're
Yeah.
so much cheaper and they're smaller, but you just don't get the reach that you get.
Yeah.
Like you can, like with a ton of volume, but like I would argue that there's a reason that the mid-tier influencer has a large following, and it's because they know how to work the algorithm.
Yeah, well, that's the question to me a lot of times is like there are mid-tier influencers that I see that are really more like celebrities. And I think it's especially true for athletes, where they got their following because they're an athlete in some community, but their content dies really fast, right? Like they aren't actually good at posting content on the internet. They're just people see them on TV or whatever.
They played in the NFL.
Exactly.
They played in the NBA. People kind of know them from there.
Tell me, that feels like the stay away to me. That feels like the kind of person where you're not going to get any reach from them. They maybe don't lend that much credibility to your product because they're probably not like a huge athlete or anything like that. And they have no like algorithmic skill, right?
And they're not an actor.
Yes, right.
You give them the UGC script and it's bad. It's like it's pretty bad. You're like, whoa, this is a huge mistake.
Do you disagree with that? Is there a place for that kind of person?
No, I don't disagree with that. I think the only time that can be helpful though is, not to bring up a sore subject, but wait, did you work at Kalo ever?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? So I was the head of growth at Groove.
Yeah.
And so when I was at Groove, one of the things that it's just kind of funny. We were competitors back in the day, but I think one of the things that was interesting how we use influencers there was just getting into new categories. So like one of our most successful partnerships was JB Mooney. He's like the Michael Jordan of bull riding. And so I think that
I've seen that guy. He's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. But his, if you looked at his social following, you'd probably be like, whoa, this is like trash. Like he's not like a social guy. He's not a very like interactive, and his like following is fairly small. But like we did the video shoot with him for a full production ad, and he crushed. Like he was he was doing like a 3x return and spending tens of thousands of dollars a day. Like it was just, I've never seen anything like it. And so I just think that having that trust is so important. And so yes, maybe he's not great on camera. Maybe he only has 300,000 followers, but when we put him in front of the right audience, he's like their he is like their guy. And I just think that I think it comes back to trust.
I really agree with this approach. And I think it's something that brands just undervalue is how much like targeting some kind of community. I mean, I tell the Kalo story all the time, but like the big thing that was crucial for Kalo was getting to CrossFit. And it was exactly this playbook. It was like, just go find influencers that people trusted in that space and get rings on their fingers. And that was, before Groove probably existed, eventually I think Groove got Rich Froning, right? So it was like, you got the actual
Rich.
GOAT of CrossFit at the time. And it was like sort of a different deal. And I think Kalo did not work with Rich because he was too expensive at the time, but they should have taken that swing. And because he just lends so much credibility in that space to the product. People love Rich Froning who are in CrossFit. I mean, he's for all these reasons. So
he's in the CrossFit.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. So and still has a ton of influence in that space. It's a whole bunch of years later, and that space has died out a lot. But it's like it's still a thing. And so JB Mooney, however you say his name, like is a great example of this, where it's a closed community, but he's got 1 million followers now. He's the GOAT there. He's amazing. Yeah. And if you want to go reach people who are into bull riding and into outdoor kind of, I don't know how to frame
rodeos.
Rodeos.
By the way, I went to a rodeo this past Friday night. It was my first rodeo.
Amazing, right?
It was amazing. I had like
Yeah,
the best time.
yeah,
And that's, I
yeah,
think that's why I brought it up, because
yeah,
it was amazing. But like, I was like thinking, like, he is speaking to this demographic,
yes,
and
yeah.
that demographic is
They care.
actually all, well, it's also all of middle America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, it's like country music central. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
these are the people who are buying your products online. So
Yeah.
don't discount the JB Moonies. You probably need to find 10 more of them instead of,
Well,
the blonde haired stay-at-home mom.
that's right. And what I also think is like the mistake we made at Kalo after that was that we were looking at, okay, what's the next CrossFit for us? And what we ended up doing was spreading budget out into like 4 different spaces, and we're not very
NBA.
targeted about it. Nah,
Yeah.
it was like we did some surf because we saw some use case there. We did some like sort of, I would call it Pacific Northwest outdoors, like rock
Yeah.
climbers, that kind of thing. We did some
Yeah.
southern outdoors, hunting and fishing more,
Yeah.
Um
And did the
and
southern one work better? Like, because I think
well, I
not.
don't think any of them worked that great. And it was at
Yeah.
the time, and it was because it was sort of half-hearted efforts in a lot of places instead of saying we're going to really push in to the place that we really could go and say, okay, we're going to do CrossFit again into the community. But I bring this point up all the time. I think it's really helpful, and the way you just said it is right, which is find that community that you really want to resonate in and use influencer for trust building in that. It signals that we are really a part of your community. You can do micro, you can do medium, you could do JB Mooney, the Michael Jordan of the space. You can do everybody in there and at varying price levels and all that. And I think it's really good. And then go show up to the events and go, support the charities that they care about, like do all the things. That's an influencer is a
Totally.
critical part of that. I think, you're not
Yeah.
really in the space if the people who are the best at it in your space, or who are the biggest names in it, don't use your product. You're not really there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So
Good stuff.
So keep going.
I love some bull riding references.
Yeah. So go up. I mean, that dude's unbelievable. Like there's like
He
an
is.
original documentary about him on YouTube. That's like it's like
Oh,
the craziest
really?
thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know about him. I didn't know if anyone knew.
yeah.
I guess they do. I just haven't really revisited his profile in a while.
I saw the documentary once, and it was like, yeah, I think it's just interesting to watch anybody who's amazing at anything do their thing,
Yeah,
and
they're just locked in.
Yeah, to see kind of what his deal was really cool. Anyway,
Upscale to 30 million.
Yeah. So okay, so you're getting bigger names, you're paying them more, you're getting shorter usage rights, but you're getting the organic posts as well. You think there's real value in the organic posts. It's not going to be probably you make a bunch of revenue on that post necessarily. Right. It's going to be like a broader brand, longevity thing, something like that. Yeah. You're thinking at it as $15K per month at that stage, which is like you're basically just allocating some amount of budget to get those deals going, and you're just kind of building steadily over time in that space.
Yep, exactly.
Anything else about those deals that you think is different when you get to that stage?
I just think 10 to 30 million a year, you have figured out what works on paid, and like, let's put gas on the fire there. But also let's make sure that people don't feel like we're a scam when they come to our Instagram account.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how many brands get to 8 figures on just Meta, and like just through UGC creators and static image ads and whatever. Like, it's 100% possible to do that, and like to go to your Instagram profile and it's like you haven't posted in like 2 years. Like, literally, I have clients who they come to us and they're like, yeah, we did $30 million last year. And I like can't find their Instagram. I'm like, what's your Instagram account? Because I just like want to see what kind of content you had there. I click in there and it's like they haven't posted in like a year and a half. And it's like an old logo in the profile of IG. Like, those things are kind of like, to me, are just like an immediate like, hey, can we please just like, let's work with some influencers. You don't have to even post every day, but just like update the profile, because there's so many people who are clicking, who, you look at your like outbound click-through rate all the time, right? Like on Meta, like you're looking at are they clicking to the website? Like the 3% click-through rate, like the 1% that's actually going to the website, the other 2%, 66% of them are clicking to your IG, and they're looking to see what kind of content you're posting there. So just having trustworthy figures, and like maybe you're in the supplement space and maybe you have, some kind of doctor or physician that's like recommending your product. It's just like another great placement for trust. You don't have to, I'm not trying to be the brand awareness guy. I'm trying to be the trust guy. to where let's at least update them. So that's just one thing I would say is like,
Yeah.
That's just a common occurrence, I think, in D2C land is neglect all brand marketing, go 100% DR, and I completely respect it. But just I think that at that stage, make sure to like let's do some more brand plays so that people know that you're not a scam.
Yeah, I think that's right. And the problem with that approach too is that it assumes to do that you have to be a 95th percentile DR marketer to do it on DR forever. Like,
Yeah.
and by definition, most people are not, right? So
Yeah.
so if you're gonna go just endless DR into oblivion, then great, as long as you are incredible at offers and testing and creative volume and just like but you have to be incredible at it. And so if you are, great, double down on your skills that you're incredible at. But most people are actually not, and I just don't think it's what most brands ought to actually be doing. Yeah, let's do really fast above 30 million and just sort of how these deals change above that. We're just about out of time, but I do want to. I think this is a smaller segment of my listeners, again, sort of by definition of the market, but I think it's still helpful for the people to think about how does this change again when you get into the sort of that stage of things. How should be thinking about influencers then?
Yeah, 100%. I would say they're 30 million plus. Like, I think I still think that at 30 million, like, this is kind of a broad range, but like at 30 million, it's different than if you're a $1 billion brand. But
Sure.
Generally speaking, you can afford to spend 30K a month on influencer. Like you can afford to spend $1,000 a day, like every month on influencer marketing. Like to me, I've been the head of growth at a mid 8-figure brand. And like, to me, a testing budget is $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Like
right.
when I was testing into Snap, or if I was testing into Pinterest or whatever, maybe nowadays it's AppLovin. I've never been in the inside of AppLovin because I'm just, brand marketing Josh, but I'm going back to DR. I'm going back to DR Durham is really what I'm trying to get back to my roots. And so, that's like a testing budget. 30K a month is just a testing budget. So I think minimum is spending 30K a month. Let's do that for pay-per-post. Let's do that for, whitelisting. But I think that the most important thing is that influencer is a part of your overall strategy. It's not living on an island, and you're not treating it like 2015 influencer marketing where I spend $1,000 and I hope to get $5,000 back from that same post. We're treating it as brand building, organic awareness, cheap CPMs, content usage, and ultimately, is becoming a content flywheel for paid social, for Meta, for TikTok, for any channel that you're on. We even have clients that we're working with on specifically on like YouTube reviews, like even like Reddit reviews. Like you can like work with influencers on like all sorts of different channels that are part of like, the buying matrix, to where, they discover you on Instagram, they search you on Google, but right there, there's a YouTube review from an influencer. So I think it's just about being more strategic with that budget, and also just let's increase the volume. Like you need a lot of volume to see any kind of incremental lift. So I think that spending that kind of money is fairly simple. Like I'll say we kind of have been D2C focused, but a growing part of our client portfolio is CPG brands. And so we've had some really great case studies this past year. One of them is Owen, which is like a vegan protein shake. Yeah. And so we help support them in a Costco launch for a 3-month period. And we're sending influencers into Costco, and we generated like 15 million organic impressions at like $8 CPMs for that trial. And then they got that Costco trial extended. And now they're probably going to be in every single Costco. And same thing with Popsmith. They had inventory that they needed to sell on Costco.com. We work with them literally in just like a 1-month campaign, which we like never do. I just really like Dave. He's been a long time consulting client.
I had lunch with Tal last week. Great people.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And so we like whitelisted 5 or 10 influencers for an ads to Costco.com and help sell out all that inventory. So it's just like, I think it's kind of endless how you can use influencers. I just think that you have to be strategic in how you're using them. Are you using them to push retail sales? Are you using them to push D2C sales? Are you using them for your next product launch? I think that just incorporating them into your content calendar is super important.
Yeah. Influencers have influence. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So like finding a way to leverage the influence is
and they're probably not getting, they are severely underattributed. I still believe that they're super underattributed. Like
that's interesting.
I saw One of my favorite influencers, actually, Taylor Holiday was tweeting about this. Is I love Devin Levesque on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
I've purchased like several different products because of Devin.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of them, one time he stayed at I went down to like a conference in Miami, and I saw that he had stayed at the one hotel in Miami. I literally bought an $800 a night hotel room from Devin, and there was no UTM tracking or discount code that was there. Like, but I did. Like, that's how I bought it. I've also bought, a lot of his supplement products that I've literally, swiped up on an IG story, that kind of thing. So there might be some link tracking there, but often, but if I reorder, I'm buying on Amazon. And so just, I don't know. I think influencers are still severely underattributed.
You're never going to be able to figure that out with an incrementality study either. It's just not going to work that way. It's where like the bank account's the ultimate attribution software, if ultimately those deals are leading.
And post-purchase surveys I still think are great. Although,
I
don't know where I heard from you, but I think they're helpful directionally.
Yeah, I agree. Josh, if people want to work with you to have you handle some of these processes and things like that and walk them through that, they should go to alignedgrowthmanagement.com. The link for that is in the show notes to go just take an intake call, see if Josh and his team are a fit for you. They are, Josh, I've known for a long time now in this space. Like you said, we've both been here. Been around it for a little while, and I'm a big fan. So I actually can't believe this is the first time on the podcast. I made a mistake by not earlier.
I asked you, you like wouldn't let me for years, but now you let me in.
Did I not let you? Sorry. I don't know why I didn't do that.
It's fine. I only cried about it for 30 minutes.
Okay, good. X.com/Josh J. Durham is the actual URL for Josh's X account at Josh J. Durham. And then there's a couple free guides that you've given me to send out for access. The Ultimate Influencer Marketing Guide, the Complete Influencer Whitelisting Guide, both free from Josh and from his team. Exactly the information that they can pass along to you about how they do it and how you should do it too. All the links for all of those things are in the show notes. You should go to all of them. Go follow Josh.
Go to the guides. The guides especially. They are so good. They are like, I've had like people tell me all the time that they love our guides. Like that they're really well written. We didn't use like AI to write the whole thing. Like it's literally like one of them is like 33 pages of just like you could run your influencer program in-house just going through that one PDF. So definitely check it out.
Awesome. While you're at it, if you have questions or comments for Josh in this, put them in this link, particularly if you're on YouTube. I will make sure that they get to Josh if they get there. I can't promise you that Josh will respond, but I can promise that I'll send them to him. So I'll make sure that he can see that and he can interact with you there. So go ahead and leave a comment, leave a question, and see if we can get Josh's input there. And of course, subscribe while you're watching or listening, wherever you're doing that, to make sure not miss out on any content I've got in the future. Josh, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, Andrew. Good to see you, and thanks for having me.
Always. Yep. Big thanks to Josh. I loved that episode. I learned a lot. It validated some things I already thought, but reminded me and gave me clarity on some things that I kind of hadn't come back to for a little while. Immediately, when we hung up, started talking to Josh about how my clients could be working with Aligned or could be thinking about how to handle some of these things internally, whether they're working with Aligned or not. But go check out Aligned. If you're trying to scale up your influencer program, you can hear Josh's thoughtfulness. He's been down this game for a long time. AlignedGrowthManagement.com. Like I said, the link for that's in the show notes. Get on a call, see if they are right for you, whatever stage of business you're at. You can see they do all kinds of stuff for all kinds of business sizes. Big thanks to Josh for those things. The links for everything are in the show notes. Go to ajfgrowth.com, sign up for my email list there on the pop-up or in the footer. I'm going to send you my 4 free essential e-commerce resources. I'd also love to hear a little bit about your business if you're interested in working with me and my team for growth. There's an intake form on the website. Fill it out. Tell me a bit about your business. I'll get back to you there. You can also email me at podcast@ajfgrowth.com with any questions, thoughts, anything like that you have. Big thanks to More Staffing. Go to morestaffing.co/AF to get started talking to them about extending your team in the Philippines, and also RICHPANEL, to go get incredible AI-built customer service software, AI-first customer service software that very large brands are using, very small brands are using, and everybody in between can scale with you wherever your team is at. Go to richpanel.com to check that out. Thanks so much for watching or listening. A bunch of great episodes are coming. Don't forget to subscribe. Taylor Holiday is coming over to my house in a couple days to record, at the time of recording this, an episode. Probably will be recorded by the time this comes out. I've got Patrick coming back soon, of course, to talk about what's going on with our business and maybe a co-interview with Patrick with somebody building some really cool creative strategy with AI. That will be a really fun one. And then Shireen Albert's coming back, Connor McDonald from Ridge, Rob Fraser from Outway Socks, a bunch of really good episodes coming. Don't miss any of them by subscribing. So subscribe so you don't miss any of them. That's what I'm trying to say. You get it. You know what to do. You've seen internet content before. Talk to you soon.